to say that the past several days weather-wise, as far as the temperatures and the breezes and the sky conditions, have been pretty nice. Of course, we've got that rough surf out along the ocean front and the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Every once in a while, we've seen a couple of showers as well. So if you're vacationing, probably want to go in the water. We haven't seen that, but the rest of the weather has been pretty nice, and that'll be the case for the next few days. Wednesday, we've got a chance of a few thunderstorms, and that'll also be the front that helps take Chris and carries it out to sea. But it's just been sitting there for the past several days, and that's what we had expected it to do, slowly strengthening as it sits over those warm Gulf Stream waters. Every once in a while, some of those clouds and a few showers streaming back across the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and FutureCast bears that out through the rest of the forecast period over the next couple of days. Northeast winds continue through the evening. Temperatures in the 70s, quite pleasant for early to mid-July here in Hampton Roads. By 9 o'clock in the 60s, and we'll see overnight lows down into the 50s in many spots inland tonight. Low to mid 60s to maybe 67, 68 degrees right along the coastline as we start the day tomorrow. Notice a few of those clouds along the southern Outer Banks every once in a while, maybe a passing shower or two. A little bit of a shift in the wind direction tomorrow means temperatures will climb a little bit. We'll look for readings in the mid to upper 80s as we go through the afternoon. By Tuesday evening, mainly clear skies once again as Chris continues to sit off the coastline. Northeast winds, and as we get into the day on Wednesday, notice those winds starting to shift. That's in advance of the next cold front that'll approach Wednesday evening, giving us a chance at a few isolated showers or thunderstorms, but that's the same front that'll carry Chris rapidly off towards the north and east. So the latest on Chris as of the 11 o'clock advisory, we're waiting on the 5 o'clock. That'll come in about another 20, 30 minutes or so. 60-mile-per-hour winds with gusts up to 70. Right now it is stationary, but it is expected to eventually get picked up by that front and rapidly move off towards the north and east. But even by tomorrow evening, could still be talking about Chris developing into a hurricane with winds of 85 miles per hour before it moves off the coast of Newfoundland and out into the North Atlantic. And that's not the only thing we're watching. We have the remnants of what was Beryl down here near San Juan, Puerto Rico, and there is a chance that as the remnants move off towards the north and west and get back into this warm area over the Bahamas and off the southeast coast, about a 50% chance that Beryl could try to redevelop. Looks like right now that one would also remain off the coastline, but that's something we'll have to watch over the next 5 days, and that would be as we get into the weekend. Beautiful blue skies with a few clouds up on the peninsula. In Newport News, our LFC-U camera there at Oyster Point, 77 degrees, east-northeasterly winds at 8 miles per hour. 82 in Surrey, 83 in Newport News, 81 in Chesapeake, 77 in Norfolk, 79 in Melfa, 73 in Wachapreague, 77 in Virginia Beach, and 82 in Suffolk. So for tonight, cool night, mainly clear skies, 66 degrees, lots of sunshine tomorrow, with the exception of a few showers along the Outer Banks, sunny and warmer, 87 degrees, 70 and mainly clear tomorrow night, and 88 degrees on Wednesday, partly sunny, a little more humid with some of those afternoon showers or thunderstorms as the cold front moves in, and that'll drop readings a little bit for Thursday and Friday, 84, 85 degrees respectively. And then as we get into the weekend, 87 Saturday, 88 Sunday with a chance of a few afternoon thunderstorms, and we're back up to 90 by early next week.